teacher Rabbi L.M. Dumizur. And the mystery schools did not operate on belief or faith. Initiation was a process and which was based on self-effort and dedication to knowledge. Not only knowledge, but dynamic knowledge, which led to spiritual growth by liberating the powerful forces hidden inside the depths of our psyche. And at the end of the day, people would think that we are working magic, yet it's wisdom. Unfortunately, book religions that are based on the translated versions of what was written on stone and what is still on stone base their belief on static knowledge, which is driven by faith, emotionalism, and sentimental belief. And this, unfortunately, is a poor spiritual diet and can never at any time cause you to grow spiritually. I'll give 2 examples of how, when we read this, because the people who translated what was written in our ancient books were also scribes, and they hid a lot of these things in the forms that I have described: legends, myths, mysticism, parables, architectural symmetry, mnemonics, traditional festivals, names, and various symbols. So they hid that. And the stories we read, we misunderstand them because we literalize them and we wait for them to be interpreted based on European version of our beliefs. And yet, if we are to understand them from an African version based on ancient Egyptian understanding and teaching, which is the original, it is clear and straightforward. Consider briefly the issue of solid food. Solid food has become the ritualism of Christianity today, but it still dramatizes the principles of divine essence. Specifically, liquid forms of that food is also a symbol of the divine nature poured out like a stream, like rivers of water into this life that we live. So these symbols that I have spoken of, solid food, so liquid food, must be looked at to discover the depth of their vital meaning. I'll give an example of bread found in the literature of the Greek New Testament, so-called New Testament, in John 6 verse 47. And when I'm reading this, also think of the African traditional rituals of bread, in which bread was, or food, or solid food, was served to the ancestors and thrown into the 4 directions, and certain words uttered. Think of it in that perspective. In John, remember again that John is the closest of all the New Testament to the book of coming forth by day, so-called Book of the Dead. So if you want to read the Book of the Dead, read the book of John. John 6 verse 47 to 55, I'll summarize and paraphrase. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and they have died. I'll stick with that and explain that so that you understand the rest. When he says the bread of life, what life is he speaking of? And when he says your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, who is he speaking to? He is speaking to the Israelites. Who are the Israelites? They are the Isis, Ra, and El. They are the ancient descendants of Egyptians. And he says they did eat manna. Manna is manana, it's miraculous food which fell from heaven, which is depicting the soul, which is inside us. Why does it say we are dead? What is the symbol of being dead? It is the grave. And the grave is represented by the body. This physical body that we have is the grave for the manna, is the grave for the soul. So, and then it says, in the wilderness is Amenta. It is the desert. It is this life. It is on earth. It represents the domain where we dwell on earth. So where was this food eaten? Where is the soul today? The soul is in the grave, is in your body, on earth, in the wilderness, in the school of trial, in the school of works where you have to dynamize your knowledge. So the bread is the radiant divine principle of life and the light. The blood is the pledge of divine force or energy, which is the whole meaning of sacrifices that we see. Now, let us quickly conclude by looking at the goddess Hathor or Hathor, the great mother of the living in ancient Egyptian mythology. She pours out a drink made from the fruit of the sycamore fig tree, right? A most prominent ancient form of the tree of life. When you see the fig tree, it represents the tree of life in ancient Egyptian. But it is because the figs are like the womb, are like the womb where we dwell in, and the seeds, he said, are the smallest. So Hathor was the Shechem, or shrine of the child, figured as the bearing tree, the gentrix, the womb, or the cage, or the egg in which is buried life that should germinate. When we look at this word Shechem, it means hidden shrine. It comes from the word sak, which is also liquid or drink. And teka means to supply. So when you speak in Shona and say, "Inono tekera mvura," teka or teka means supply water or supply with drink. This is its original meaning in its ancient times, not in modern times, but it's found in Bantu language. So the fig tree is an emblem of the womb. And also because it's the emblem of the womb, it means it has latent power that unfolds by fermentation. In other words, the growth to fill up the spirit force is the bubbles of air in fermentation when we brew the beer. This becomes clear now for us to understand Luke 17 verse 6, which says, "If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you would say unto this sycamore tree, the fig tree, muonde, be thou rooted up and be thou planted in the sea, and it would have obeyed you." If you have faith, if we have business, if we have knowledge. So we know from the book of Coming Forth by Day that the sea causes fermentation. When you see fermentation, it is the divinization. It is the symbol for divinization or spiritualization of your life. So, in conclusion, from this which I have said, to have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, so tiny, is for the soul buried in the deep soil of the amenta or of the wilderness or of your grave or of your body. And to have this instinctive knowledge that causes it to give life, just like the seed, to rise out of death, so that your soul has grown up out of this life. We cannot fail to understand this because our cousins, the Hottentots, spoke of Heit Abib, who told his son Urisipo, that the whitish one, not to eat of the raisin trees in the valley. Heit Abib in his travels came to a valley which represents the earth, in which the raisin trees were ripened. There he was attacked by a severe illness. Then his young second wife, Ivu, said, "This brave one is taken ill on account of these raisins. Death is here at this place." And the old man told his son, "I shall not live. I feel it." And he spoke further, "This is the thing which I order you to do. Of the raisins of this valley you shall not eat. For if you eat them, I shall infect you, and you shall die in a similar way." And then he died. And then the people sing a song which says, "I, father of Urisipo, father of this unclean one, I who had to eat these raisins and died, and dying I live." This is the story of what we should learn and how we should understand our myths, our literature, because this is how the mystery schools taught. Subscribe to this channel, spread the message, and help us understand this more. Goodbye.